Hey everyone, how are you doing? So we are getting back into the market today, and I kind of think that I guess I should say with some evidence here. I kind of think with some evidence that we're starting to see here that this week will be very good, at least up until Friday. So why I say that is because two big things here. Obviously, right now we're going into earnings week. This is the start. The next 3 weeks are heavy with earnings. Okay, I don't want to repeat myself too much because I said this yesterday in the other video. But Monday, hey, we'll see what happens here. Get the market up and rolling. See what some dust can settle here from the last week of just sell off. Okay. Tuesday here is really when we're getting into Netflix, I mean, it's just nonstop. Day after that, Tesla, just it's on and on and on. And then Friday at the end of the week here at 8 a.m., we're going to see the CPI report. We'll see if the market even cares, good, bad, how it works out. Next week is when we're going to see more quarterlies, even bigger quarterlies, okay, with more companies. And that too will be SoFi is going to be in that. Fed's meeting up, rate cut potentially is going to happen. So this is why, last week could have been the week to really start buying up some stuff. We might get Monday here. We'll see how the market reacts here. But right now, I just want to have a little conversation kind of myself to whatever here, just talking out loud about Wolf, talk about Applied Digital. I somewhat think these stocks here are going to do very well the rest of the year. I really do mean that. And two, I do want to say, I've already said this, but it's so important. I talk a lot about Tom Lee. Tom Lee just came out with a new interview where he said, they said again, Tom, what do you think about the market? Things are down, kind of rough right now. And Tom Lee just doubled down. He said, hey, I think the market, and they said, do you think the market still has a chance to close out at 7,000 points? The S&P 500 close out 7,000 points. And he said, actually, the way things are going right now, even from what it looks like, we're going to get 2 rate cuts. We're going into earnings. We're already seeing strong signs of earnings are going to be very good with these AI stocks. And talking about this AI bubble, I don't think this AI bubble is going to pop anytime soon. I think we're just in some really good earnings. And this is what his argument has been, that the S&P 500 is trying to catch up with what a lot of these companies are releasing. Even the bank stocks last week were releasing, the majority of them releasing quarterlies where people were going, what the heck? So with that, Tom Lee said, I think 7,000 points is the minimum of what the S&P 500 would close out at the end of the year here. I think we could well be over 7,000 points. So that right there, I mean, we're talking about another easily 10% gain on top of the S&P 500 here from where we're at right now, give or take. That's crazy. That means everything is going to go for another ride here. Everything, especially anything to do with AI, because we know AI stocks are just running hot. So talking about Wolf, talking about Applied Digital, let's go right into talk about Applied Digital here. I just want to, like I said, I want to keep this short and sweet in just what's going on here and where I'm at, because I get so many comments about different stocks, and these are two that I've been talking about, and I just want to, continue try to, I don't want to leave, the conversation open here and just not talk about them anymore. So Applied Digital, where is Applied Digital going to land? What more is going to happen here? So long story short, Applied Digital has had an amazing year. The last 2-3 years have been really good with this company, been really moving up, moving fast. And this was a company that, a year ago, no one was paying attention to. This was a $2-3 stock, and everyone was like, data centers are a thing of the future. Well, the future moves fast, my friends, and we've come to find that out here this year in the market. So Applied Digital has had a tremendous year here in 2025, running with the AI stocks, getting a lot of attention, not only from the stock, the share price getting pushed here, but them as a business. I mean, partnerships, quarterlies, for God's sake. The last quarterly was really hot. I mean, the biggest and best quarterly they've ever released. So they ran up so high here, and then when they released this big quarterly, it took what was already going crazy even to another level of crazy here. So Applied Digital here, essentially just nickel short, dollar and some nickels short here, getting to $40. Now, obviously with what we had last week, it sold off, crazy enough to say, it sold off to $34. I think too, right now, where we're sitting right now, the safe zone, kind of where this is around a $35 stock. Now, obviously, for the people in here, like, this is way too expensive. I think that comment is kind of getting just old. I don't know. That's the politest way I can say it, because I think if you haven't caught on to what's going on in the market right now with this AI bubble movement thing that's happening here that we've been in, you're having to pay a premium with everything that's doing well. If there's any AI stock that's popular plus doing well, you're gonna have to pay for it. It's just the way things are right now, because of the potential for them to keep doing better. So, Applied Digital was already doing well, getting a little heat on it, some popularity. Now it's hit this gear of, oh my goodness, and it just came out with this, I mean, not to mention the last 2 months, the partnership, they're literally building onto their plant, and now they came out with this aggressive quarterly. So there's a lot of good positive news around this stock right now, and this is why I think this stock has a tremendous amount of potential just to keep doing what a lot of other AI stocks are doing this year. Just get crazy expensive. I don't even want to put a price cap on what I think this is going to do. Essentially, how I feel about Applied Digital right now, I'm just looking at this and I'm just along for the ride. That is how I look at this right now. This stock has gone crazy. It has gone crazy. But two, you have to look at what investors are looking at for the next phase of the market here going into next year. They're looking at data centers. They're looking at robotics. They're looking at water cooling system companies for data centers and crypto, stuff like that. These are things that are getting a lot more attention. Quantum computing stocks. I mean, my God. And this is just one of those companies that is getting a lot of attention right now, and it's getting very expensive. So, if you look at the chart right here, obviously it's moving up into this zone here to where, I think the bottom, the safe zone, is anywhere from easily maybe 28 at the lowest. I mean, we went through last week, and everything took heat from last week. We saw what the bottoms were for a lot of things last week. Applied Digital here was still, not wanting to give up this mid $30 range. So if it could get worse here, which I don't know that's going to happen, something dramatic is going to have to happen in the market for it to stay down with this hot week coming here, these next 2 hot weeks. This thing may just keep running. It just may keep running. I am watching it. I'm loving it. I think this is amazing. And two, the company keeps releasing quarterlies here. If the next, I know we just had the quarterly, but if the next quarterly too is released and it's in the $60-70 million range, holy smokes. This thing is going to push easily up more. This stock is looking for an excuse to run right now, and it's getting all excuses for it to run, for it just to go, well, we're just going to keep moving up here. So yeah, just amazing. This is the future, no matter how you want to slice it. I think the best way I can explain this is, if you've gone through seasons in the market, you see trends. And I know I've said this, but stick with me on this little just rant right now. This isn't like a startup EV company. I don't know if it's going to work. They cost a lot of money to get up and going. There's a lot of competition. Essentially, with these data centers that are popping up in these companies like this, there is a need regardless. And Applied Digital is already grounded itself in stone here. It's standing up. It's doing very well. It's not so much that if it's going to work, it's probably going to work, because this is a necessity that is needed into the future. There is competition, but there's not competition in the sense of what we saw in the craze of the EV market, if that makes sense, where EV companies were extremely expensive to get going. They're still struggling. They're extremely expensive to run. There's a lot of different ones with a lot of different flavors, but at the end of the day, most of them are the same. What we're looking at right now with these data centers, networking, all this stuff, is that there's not enough. And there's just more of a need and want for them. So, this is why this company, this stock, is getting so much attention, so much push right now. So I think it's very interesting, extremely interesting, and I would not be shocked to see this company continue to push into just ridiculous numbers. I really wouldn't. And Wolf, I look at Wolf and I go, this is very much a very similar playbook right now, where this stock went from no one was really paying attention to it. I remember when it was a $2, $3, $4 stock, and finally, had some good news around it. We saw this this AI bubble become even more of a big bubble. And when I say that, I don't say it in a negative aspect. I just say it, just to push back against the bears, because it's true. The bigger this AI bubble gets, companies that semi have been doing good the past 6 months that really weren't getting a lot of attention. Now, a lot of these little AI stocks, companies like Wolf here, can finally get the attention they need and start to move up. Now, Wolf could get, a lot more aggressive here to where it's a little ridiculous for what you're paying for it. I mean, somewhat of the same conversation with Applied Digital, but this is the market that we're in right now. Wolf is turning into one of these stocks where you'll probably be paying a popularity fee on top of it pretty soon. I definitely think this stock by the end of this year has, especially too, and this is where I want to be very careful what I tell you, because they do have a quarterly coming up here in 2 weeks. If this next quarterly they released is good, if it even has a smidgen room for them to have an excuse for the stock to do good, this will run into a $16, $18 stock, $25 at the most by the end of the year. But unless something magical happens with them getting a deal, some kind of partnership, something, but which is always on the table at this point with these AI stocks. But if they execute quarterlies here, this stock is going to do well. So I think this is somewhat of a path that could be very similar to what we've seen even with Applied Digital, very much so. So yeah, I think these are two very interesting stocks. They're popular, but they're not insane popular, if that makes sense. I don't even know if anybody's talking about them, but I know there's people that are buying into them for sure. And investors have done very well with both of them. I mean, my God, 6 months ago, Applied Digital was, a $15 stock. Not even that. I mean, it was cheaper than that. And then, Wolf here, I mean, the same thing. I mean, this was a $5, $7 stock. And, people are like, it can't go any higher. And then, of course, some of us were like, this is going to go higher. But yeah, I mean, just amazing. Friends, I want to wish all of you the best of luck this week in the market. I think it's going to be a very exciting week. This is literally like Super Bowl week. Once again, we get in the stock market, you get a lot of Super Bowl weeks, but this is definitely, the next 2-3 weeks are very much Super Bowl weeks, where we're going to see a lot of back and forth fighting in the market, and a lot of volatility, good volatility where you can make a lot of different moves. So very excited about that. Friends, take care of yourself. I'll talk to you very soon. Bye, everyone.